Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to StrangeCast, Player One vs. Life is Strange podcast. I am one of your hosts, Adnan. My co-host Adam is here. Adam, you here?
I'm here. This is where I am. My name's Adam. Yes.
Yes. You are Adam. That's all we ask for on this podcast. Ready to pick a fight with our comment of the day.
I am.
We'll go on that in a bit. But yeah, thank you for joining us. If you are new here, as always, please do consider dropping subscribe on the channel, like the video, share with your friends, helps you support the channel. And I've always said this, I hate saying that so much, but yeah, please do support the channel where you can.
Market.
And StrangeCast is available. Yeah, market. Don't. We just had me and him have had a 25-minute argument about this.
Yeah.
But yeah, StrangeCast is available on all podcast services as well. So available on Spotify with a video version, available on Apple Podcasts, Amazon. We're available on everything, so you can check us out there. And please do give us a rating as well. We're on 176 followers on Spotify now, over 6,000 listens, 14 ratings. So please do give us a like if you can over there. And if you're obviously on podcast services, we're on YouTube as well. So come and check us out on here. Adam, before we start, should we make our announcement, or should we keep that towards the end of the video?
You can make the announcement, and also I have an announcement.
Oh, well, I didn't know about your announcement.
Yes, I didn't tell you off camera.
Here we are. So yes, just for context as well, and this should be on our social media feed before the episode comes out, we have a new podcast coming out. So yes, in an already oversaturated podcast market and many podcasts, we've decided to launch another podcast. So please obviously say welcome to the Lost Records Journal, which is our new podcast. It's a sister podcast to StrangeCast. It will drop on the Friday, so it should drop 2 days after this episode, so it should come out before the end of the month. That is just a Lost Records centric podcast. That will just be, I think, maybe from 30 minutes to an hour, and it'll just be a conversation, a main topic around something in the Lost Records universe. Obviously, we're expecting longer term for all the other games that they'll make, hopefully, and etc. So, but that's just a dedicated podcast for that. So, in essence, I think StrangeCast has evolved more than just Life is Strange podcast, because we cover a lot of the Don't Nod news, a lot of the Deck 9 news, etc. So anything that is news related specifically for Lost Records Bloom Rage will be kept on this podcast, but then main topic conversations will be moved towards Lost Records Bloom Rage. And we started off as a monthly podcast to start with, because it's quite slow. We haven't heard anything yet. Watch us to drop something now, because we made this this podcast. But it'll be a monthly podcast to start with, and it'll come out as a kind of a supplement to StrangeCast. I imagine we'll move to 2 weeks every when it comes close towards release and there's more content. And again, it's a very smaller podcast anyway, so you can keep it on the tune, but you'll have more content coming to the channel. And hopefully by the time it gets Friday, it'll be on RSS feeds as well at the same time as YouTube, so you can check it out. So that is the first announcement, and now we're on to Adam's announcement, which I don't even know about.
Yes,
I'm kind of a bit scared about.
Mine is very short. I just wanted to follow up and say I did play Juson after the episode. I did play it. I just want to give a short shout out to that. Yeah, I'm sorry that I slept on this game. It's very much worth everybody's time. It's a very small price tag. I believe it's $25 regular price. So I don't think anybody should sleep on this game. There are some, I will say to some people, I played on Xbox Series X, and there were some frame rate issues, but nothing crashed. My game never crashed. It never bugged out. There was just some areas where there was a lot going on, and it just wasn't optimized for those areas. So the frame rate dropped to 15 instead of like a 30, 40 frames, So that's basically it. But the puzzles, I never felt like I was stuck in. It felt very relaxing. There is no fall damage, so I don't know. Don't sleep on this game. I beat it in an afternoon. It was about 4 to 6 hours long. No, I played Juson. It's very, very good. Minus some frame rate issues.
Nice, very glad to hear that. And yeah, it's nice to have that kind of time, because I'm 70 hours into Final Fantasy VII and I haven't finished it yet. And it's I'm like, I love this game, how big it is, and I don't want it to ever end, but it's too big, man. It's I don't have the time anymore, man. I'm
80 hours? Yeah. Oh my god, dude.
It's just too much. Before we move on as well, is Juson an Adnan Riaz kind of game or not? That's the big question.
Yes and no. Yes in a way. I think it's very relaxing and chill, and you can find the lore if you want it. There's a lot of collectibles, so that's nice. The climbing mechanic can get frustrating. and it's not unfair. It's not like you fall and it's like, oh, come on. It's just that like, so you hold the right trigger to get your left hand, and then you have to get your right hand, and you have to let go of the left trigger and get your up here, and then you have to like point with the thumbstick of where you want your hand to go. That can get a little bit frustrating, but overall, I would say, if I was to say like out of 10 being like this is oxen free, right? Like this is like Adnan's type of game. 1 being this is, I don't know, Guitar Hero. It's like
I love Guitar Hero.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like a 1 for you.
Like The Last of Us Part 2, to be honest.
There you go. Oh man, you made some enemies in the comments.
I did not like that game. Trust me. Do not want to have a conversation about that game. I think it's one of the worst sequels I've ever seen, and not because general have no. There's more valid criticism than just that. It's actually just a very, very poorly constructed game. And I never liked Neil Druckmann anyway, and I've always thought that Bruce Straley was the brains at Naughty Dog, along with Amy Hennig.
Yes,
and it's like it's just that. Yeah, let's not go on that. But okay, go on.
So continue. 1 being Last of Us Part 2, and 10 being Oxenfree. In terms of Adnan, I would give this a 7. I would probably give this like
that's respectable.
Mm-hmm. I would say Juson is a 7 for you in your standards.
That's respectable, actually, because I was going to say like I've tweeted about this famously. I've tweeted about this on Twitter, saying that the person who's at Square Enix who made the mini games at Final Fantasy Rebirth hates people.
Yeah,
they must hate. Oh my god, I've never played a more difficult mini game. Like Michelle like interacted with me as well, because there's a mini game that just explains this to people for Rebirth, and it's not a spoiler.
Yeah.
If you've ever played Final Fantasy VII Remake or Rebirth, there's a character called Jules in it. Jules is like a gym goer. I don't know if Jules is a man or a woman. There's been like a conversation if Jules is trans as a character, but anyway, that's beside the point. Jules decides to have a challenge with you. So in the first game, I think it was I can't remember what the first one was. I think it was maybe pull-ups or something. But this one, you have to challenge Jules to sit-ups as Tifa. They are the champion, Jules, yeah?
Yes.
Jules is the champion, right? And oh my god, I spent 6 to 8 hours on this one site. I nearly broke my control. Adam, I've never been more angry. Like, Michelle was interacting with me on Twitter, saying that's incredible that you got the score that I did. I was like, Michelle, it took about 8 hours.
Yeah.
Like, basically, let me just give you context, right? So you have to score. Jules will score 49, 50, or 51 in sit-ups. It's about 1 minute, 30 seconds, right? After 3 sit-ups, he'll drop, usually. After 3 or 4 sit-ups, he'll drop as like a mistake. Then he goes on a rampage. He will not mess up at any point, right? He'll go up to 49, 50, or 51. You play as Tifa, right? Basically, it's like a 4 diagonal. So it's like, it'll be like L1, R1, L2, R2, and you have to do this as a combo, or it's the other way around, which is funny as well, because the developer was like, you know what? If you mess up a couple of times, I'll flip it around.
Yeah.
So you go from R1, L1, R2, L2. You have to do this. In between that, when you're doing it, there's a prompt that might pop up. So for the R2 trigger, you might have to mash it in repeatedly quickly, or you might have to gently touch it in to move on to the next section. So it makes it increasing. What makes it even more difficult as well on top of that is that after a little bit, the buttons disappear off the TV. So you basically have to get into a rhythm. So I'm sat in a room like L1, R1. I'm 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Generally doing this. If you would like walk past my room, it'd be like sound like I was like a lunatic.
Yeah.
Like 1, 2, 3, 4. You basically have to hit it 500 times in a row without messing up.
Yeah.
For reasonable, if for example Jules doesn't get 40, 50, for example, 500 because it's 4 per button, it's like, oh. And there's another one that's just annoyed me as well last night. It's a piano game. I'm like, oh my god. I'm like, no one can actually feasibly do this. And then my mate was like, I did it in 3 or 4 attempts. I'm like, just go away, man. Like, just leave me alone. But anyway, that's just another conversation itself. We could go on forever, but let's kick on to the show if you're good with that. We'll stick off with our we'll kick off with our only Life is Strange piece of news for today, and it's been a bit quiet again. So we're going to go to Katy Bentz here. Katy Bentz, Life is Strange, Before Storm, True Colors, Steph Gingrich, you know her very well. She tweeted on the 22nd of March, I can't believe it has been a year since the novel came out, which is referring to Life is Strange, the Steph story. Honored to have been a part of bringing Steph's story to life through the narration of the audiobook, meeting and getting to promote the book with Rosiee Thor was a joy, such an incredibly talented writer. And Rosiee Thor tweeted on the 21st of March, today Life is Strange, Steph's story turns 1 year old. The passage of time feels totally fake, and hey, maybe it is. Shout out to the amazing people who made this book and the wonderful experience of publishing possible. And a bunch of many other people being Titan Books, Katy, Bentz, Life is Strange. So it has been 1 year since Steph's story has come out. We actually did a review of this on StrangeCast, which you can go and check out. We have, I think, Life is Strange Heat Waves, which is the second prose novel that's coming out, not directly connected to this. It's a different prose novel in itself. It's a prose novel, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, Forget Me Not's the comic series. My mind is like, yeah. But the second prose novel come out later this month again, which will be Steph and Alex. Now more so than just Steph. Adam, 1 year on from Life is Strange Steph's story.
Yes. And I also saw something trending to boycott NBC, and I'm not going down that rabbit trail. I don't really care at this point. Yeah, because who's watching NBC anymore? Anyways.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, when he said this to me, that's been a year. I'm like, it's been a year already. Like, God, dude. Yeah, kind of wild that this has been out for a year, and yeah, we did a review on it, and I thought the story was very good. I think Rosiee is genuinely a fan of Life is Strange. I think she treated the book with a lot of fairness, with a lot of Life is Strange love, rather than just like a story with names from Life is Strange. No, there was like actual fandom like being written in this book. So yeah, it's crazy. And if you haven't read it yet or listened to it, I recommend listening to it because you get Katy Bentz like voicing Steph again. So I think I did look up, because I always say that on Spotify you have audiobooks, right? But I believe Steph's story is not part of your subscription. I just want to.
It was on Audible.
It is on Audible, yes, but it is also on Spotify if you want.
Oh yes, yeah. I think when I signed up to Spot on Audible for free, I got it for a free download.
Yeah,
so you
it's
get
not
a token, I think, for a free book.
So on Spotify you can listen to it, but it's not part of your premium subscription, so you do have to purchase it separately. Yeah, it's that's a shame, but it is available there to listen. It's on Audible. But yeah, no, I recommend this book a lot. It's quite a good story.
Yeah, I enjoyed it as well. Like the audio book was really nice as well. As you know, Katie's always great in just audio work as it is, and she was very, very good as an audio book narrator, which I feel like is very different from obviously like voice acting and scripting. It's still a different kind of like thing that you have to do. But generally speaking, enjoyed the story, and it was quite interesting to see how they went down it. Like obviously a lot of the kind of expanded content from what we didn't see in True Colors is in this, especially specifically Izzy and Steph's relationship, which is quite interesting. And obviously it feels like Square Enix have noticed that they want to do more of this, so they've done a second prose novel which will come out next month. I don't know if I'll pick the prose novel up at launch. It's like I might pick it up down the line, or if they do an audiobook again with Katy, I'll probably do it. But I did enjoy it though. It was quite interesting to see where they're going. It kind of gives me I'm just kind of like I'm thinking about Adam, because it's like I'm like there's so many like rumblings, people like over the Life is Strange Twitter account and like the TikTok page and stuff, interacting with people, and they're being more proactive with stuff, and it's like and I think I saw someone say it, and I'm not taking credit for this myself. Someone said like Deck 9 recently followed Summer Games Fest on Twitter, which will happen in June. So it's like people think that they might announce something there, and in itself as well, I don't know if we'll see a Life is Strange game this year. It could be next year now, with the 10th anniversary. I think you might have mentioned that.
Yes. Did I mention that?
Maybe I'm crediting it to you.
I'll take the credit. Yeah.
I think maybe we'll get to the point where it's like, I think it would be realistic for it to come out this year, but like if it's March and we haven't heard anything, I feel like it's quite like late to kind of like start making announcements and to get it out there.
Yes.
And I think like my personal expectation is that like there will probably be something the 10th anniversary. But I've said this before with like the Aperture and like Life is Strange Max and stuff like that. Like it'd feel like a step backwards if they did all this. For example, they've done all this stuff with True Colors with Deck 9, and they've like put such a focus on like Steph being like a character in herself and Alex being like this kind of different story, an original story. And they went back to that, I'd be like, even though I'd welcome it, and like I'd be a little bit hesitant, and kind of like I would have like mixed feelings about it, and especially with like Lost Records coming out, I have like different feelings about the entire franchise and how I stand on it. But generally speaking, like Steph's story was like a nice. They should have done this like years ago, man. They could have like rattled off like anthologies of like books and stuff. I feel like Square Enix has been so far behind like their marketing with some of these kind of things and the merchandise. It just feels like you've kind of like done it towards the tail end of the franchise's like peak success. I think like we have to talk about it as well. Like I don't like the conversations that some people have said where it's like Lost Records could be Life is Strange spiritual success, or Life is Strange like this or that, but it could potentially be like a Life is Strange like Devastator, like in terms of if it has anywhere near the same success, we could see the end of like Life is Strange in terms of the same level of success. Like people will travel over, because remember as well, it's a very divided franchise as it is with Deck Nine and Square Enix, Deck Nine and Don't Nod being at the helm of it.
And who knows what other studios might be working on other projects in Square Enix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know if Deck Nine's even working on this. Like, if this Aperture thing is real, it could be anyone, man.
It could be
anyone that's working on
it. Crystal Dynamics.
Well, yeah. Well, yeah.
Actually, it would be pretty fire. I'm not gonna lie. Just like like a Lara Croft, but it's Max.
I don't really like that. I don't like that Tomb Raider games now. In hindsight, now I really don't like them.
Oh, I like the first one, and then yeah.
Here's a fun fact as well. Did you know as well, when I did my journalism thesis, my MA journalism thesis, I actually interviewed Rihanna Pratchett.
Oh yeah,
who was who's the lead writer on the Tomb Raider series. Never published the interview online. I did it for my dissertation, so I've got all the stuff in there, the contents of it. But I think it was online briefly because I put the website online because it was part of my journalism thing. I built my own website and wrote articles on it and stuff. But oh man, like they just made Lara Croft boring, man. Like do you know, because they've remastered the core design games, and like that was Lara Croft, man.
Yeah,
it's like you tried to make her like Nathan Drake. Nathan Drake was trying to be Lara Croft, man.
Yeah,
and it's like you now like it's like I said this to you with designs of characters. It's like with Jill Valentine. Heaven forbid she ever wears a skirt like she did in Resident Evil 3.
Well, that's why I think the two other games that followed the first one, I think those really did try to follow the Uncharted path, but there was some dark. There were some darker tendencies to the first one, like the first like Tomb Raider reboot, because like oh my god, the way you can just eviscerate Lara, like get like a spike like through your gut, like that was insane, dude. But yeah, the other two games were definitely like Uncharted, especially Rise. I believe the second one was definitely Uncharted. For sure, that was Uncharted. But no, the first one I really loved. I loved it a lot.
It was I think it was okay, and I think maybe it
was heading to a right direction,
but never
then
really
screwed up the direction.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yes.
I enjoyed playing that original like one, but I still had like certain reservations. I felt like it skimmed Lara Croft down a little bit. But anyway, but on the point of like Crystal Dynamics,
yes,
would be interesting per se. But again, like I'm just because like for me, like let me just say this as well, because like it might come across as bad for other people because they've always wanted a Max game, etc. All this, it screams of like desperation at that point, because it's like it's just too much time has passed, man.
Yes,
like too much time has passed for like, and again, I know that like Don't Nod doesn't control the IP anymore. I know that Square Enix can do whatever they want with it. I know they can bring Max. It's like you've basically left Max Caulfield in the wilderness for 7 years now. Because like before the song was her last appearance, it's like why are we going back there? And why would you make a direct sequel? And then it's like even if we took that Aperture room and the claim stuff, it's just like a weird kind of. Anyway, I digress. But I will expect something from Deck Nine at least within the next couple of months. I know that they are working on something. It's not mind blowing, by the way, but I know they have been working on something. So could we get a reveal? It wouldn't surprise me. Or what that is, I don't know if it's Life is Strange again, but In itself, though, Steph's story was an interesting little piece that they gave of it. Again, this is I've always said this. My theory is I always feel like that Steph was meant to have a bigger place in Life is Strange True Colors, because we know it was Life is Strange 3 before True Colors came its official name. We've seen the logo that Katy had posted when she did the behind the scenes.
Yes,
and it's like Steph is always very positioned very weirdly in the story. And I'm like she could easily have literally slotted in where Alex Chen's story was, and it was like it wouldn't have fallen that far out of place.
Yes,
and it's like Alex Chen just came and idea. And by the way, I love Erica Mori and love Alex Chen, etc. So it's just to
Erica Mori is an American treasure.
She is absolutely American treasure. And then it's like I'm just kind of like I always kind of wondered. It's like I feel like they probably maybe even had like an idea of having Steph as the main character at one point before Square Enix or someone like intervened and they changed the story around. It's like God knows how many processes of like drafts and stuff they went through. But yeah, nonetheless, it was an interesting piece, this though. Just in terms of like listening to an audiobook about Steph and kind of the expose they gave her. A lot of characters could have had this treatment. I think that Square Enix basically like missed an opportunity per se to kind of like get more of these done.
I am looking up to see if you can like pre-order the audiobook on Spotify. It does not look like you can.
Is this for the other prose novel?
Heat Waves, yeah. I'm just making sure.
Have they even announced an audiobook for that?
I don't think they have.
No, which is a bit of a shame.
But you
I
can
feel like
pre-order it at Target, the paperback, on Adnan's birthday.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's my birthday that it comes out.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
What a
You
time
get
to
to
be
read a
alive.
book.
Can't remember the last time I read a Harry. I think it was Harry Potter, maybe, or something.
Yeah, right.
God only knows. God only knows. I'm terrible at reading. I wish I could read, but I don't have an imagination for it. I can't see things.
That's fair. It's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we, before we move on, actually, before we move on to the next topic, I want to ask you, who would you want like a prose novel about? You had like one character.
Pompidou.
No, you can't do about the book.
Yeah. Pompidou.
Maybe we have the rebirth music on every paragraph. Wow, 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 wow.
Wow, 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 wow. You know what? Like, without joking, like I just thought of it. I would love a prose novel on Frank. That would be.
I was going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah, Frank would be good, dude. Featuring Pompidou. Hey.
There you go. Be on the front cover, kind of Pompidou.
Yeah.
Frank would be cool though. Frank and the Beans.
Frank and the Beans.
That's the story. Frank and the Beans.
That would be a cool story, dude. I would love to read about that. I am looking up. I'm just Googling Life Strange Heat Waves audiobook. And I don't even see any. Oh, there it is. It's on Audible. There is a pre-order. Yep, there is a pre-order on Amazon Audible for Life Strange Heat Waves. So there will be. It does not say who is narrating it though. I'm going to assume it's Steph, but I mean Katy. But yeah, no. So I'm thinking, but you can pre-order it on Audible.
No, sorry, I was listening to you. I'm just kind of confused. I'm on X for our next piece of news, and the top 4 stories trending are just the weirdest things I've ever seen.
Yeah, aren't they?
Based on my algorithm.
Yeah.
So mine is Thank You Ash and Pikachu.
What the hell is Grok?
Trending in the United Kingdom, eggs. Trending Majima, who's a Yakuza character.
Oh my God,
and then the news trending MSNBC. It's like, what?
No,
so that's the weirdest collection of things.
This is why, and I'm not kidding you, like I've deleted X off of my phone. I've deleted X and Facebook off my phone. Also, I will say this. I canceled Netflix and Max. I canceled it.
Yes.
Yeah. Like after Avatar: The Last Airbender, I was like, nah. And then like I was like thinking about like I don't really watch much on Max anymore, but yeah, no, so I took off Twitter and Facebook off my phone, and then I canceled Netflix and Max. But yeah, this is why I've deleted it off my phone, because every time I go onto X now, and it's just so like Twitter was dumb, but it was like a special kind of dumb. This is just dumb.
Yeah. Here's one for you, Adam. Yeah. Because actually, that you mentioned Netflix. Netflix for me has been I think is it 2 years that it's been cancelled? I've cancelled it.
Nice.
Quickly, just double check this. Yes, it's been 2 years officially this month. I've cancelled Netflix. So 4 days from now, we're recording the 24th. 2 years, yeah. Listen to this, right? Netflix in the UK now is £18. Yeah,
bro,
£18, right?
Yeah,
for the membership, right?
Yeah.
When I cancelled it was £14. Yeah, that was in 2022. Same in 2021. That was the subscription fee as well. Because I'm looking at my bank account right now. So in 2021 it was £14 and it increased, so it was actually £12, so it went up by £2.
Yeah.
Then going back again here down to 2020 again, £11.99 stays there, £11.99. Then going back to 2019 it was £10.
Yes.
So from 2019 to 2024 it's increased.
Yeah.
£8.
Yeah, it's so dumb. Like that's what I mean. Like I shared my password with my mom. Like I gave my mom my Netflix like password, and then they bumped her out like, oh, like we don't have Netflix, and they're like, well, if you want your mom on it, you can pay an extra $8. And I offered it. My mom's like, no, I don't watch Netflix. So I was like, yeah, screw this then. Like I'm not paying for this anymore. Like again, I watched the last Avatar, and I was like, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. It's like,
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
yeah. So
Should we
yes.
Should we move into our next piece of news?
Next piece of news.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. So we're gonna go with Don't Nod Montreal here. So we're going to our managing director there, which is Frederique Fourny-Jennings. This is a very small piece of news, but I wanted to bring it in because it kind of relates to last week's episode as well a little bit in terms of what we're talking about. She tweeted on here on the 13th of March. I'm proud to share that Don't Nod Montreal now offers inclusive menstrual leave for all team members who wish to benefit from it. We're committed to creating a work environment where everyone feels supported, regardless of their gender. Recognizing the challenges that some people face during their menstrual cycle, we have taken the decision to offer additional support to our employees. We and I firmly believe that will help to foster a culture of respect, equity, and mutual understanding within our studio. So it was a very small piece of news, but I wanted to bring it in because it's kind of in between the period of the news where we had
I'm so for
the kind
this.
of like, yeah, well, we had the entire thing, didn't we, about the workplace allegations in the last episode we were talking about, and this has kind of come out from Don't Nod Montreal, and we were talking about as well. I think you were very much right about the French union being quite different from like other unions in the way that people see things. So it's
try
like
being an American. Like try anywhere in America and try to get menstrual leave. You're not, bro. Like I could break my ankle like at work and they'll get like $3 on workers' comp. It's like, yeah, it's.
But I just don't get it though, because it's like we have this conversation all the time. It's like having I think like UK's that we're talking about, like basically like the it's gone to like a record level of like since the 1990s of like people going on sick pay and like long-term illness and stuff. And it's like it's not that people don't want to work. It's like, why are we having the same stupid conversation with people on like X and these stupid platforms? It's like, no, it's like not that. It's you basically burnt the hell out of people.
Yes.
You're not paying them fair wages. And it's like, what's the point anymore? Because like you basically could buy like things on like you could like 20, 30 years ago live on minimum wage and own your own home.
Yeah.
And that's just now not impossible.
It's impossible, dude. Like I saw a TikTok, which, you know, I kind of hope that TikTok.
Go on, Joe. Banned. Sign it, Joe.
Yeah,
sign the bill.
Joe. I don't want TikTok here anymore. But I did see a TikTok where it's just like, I get why Generation X is just so like why aren't you succeeding in life? Because back then they hated they hate to think that like you're living with your parents, because back then all you had to do was get a job. Get a job.
By the way, sorry, are you saying Gen X or boomers?
Both Gen X and boomers.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, Gen X was like the last generation to be like, all you have to do is just get a job. But like Gen X and boomers, they're just like, why are you living with your parents? It's like, because all they had to do was get a job. My uncle, who is Gen X, my uncle, he didn't go to college. He worked in a grocery store right after high school and made it up to management. And his wife doesn't work. Like his wife does part-time now. But like my aunt's, I guess I should say. But like he just worked in a grocery store right after high school, was able to buy a house, not have his wife work, have 2 kids, and he worked in a grocery store. Try doing that in today's climate, but that's beyond the point. Why am for this?
It is the point.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
it is the point, Adam.
Everybody's going to be like, "Oh, woke mob over here." I'm like, this is so worker friendly. Like, get your dumb, you watching this and listening to this, get your dumb, stupid politics out of my face. This is, bro, worker friendly. I don't care, dude. It's worker friendly, and I'm so for that. Unionize, baby.
You said that as well, and like someone like in Frederique,
I saw
like,
that.
This sums up like social. Yeah, I knew you'd see it. I was like, oh my god.
He's like,
I was like, I don't care.
Oh, but he's got a check mark. He's got a check mark, so why not? You know, why not?
Yeah, pays that blue.
Exactly. So stupid.
I just don't get it.
The guy says at Loki Jarson says you can say women, bro. That's not the point. The point is that it's worker friendly. It is inclusive. And inclusivity is worker friendly, my guy.
Just like I don't get why it bothers people. Like, just leave people. Like, why does it honestly bother you? It's like we don't. That's why I don't bring these conversations on this podcast. I would refuse to do this podcast with you if we had to have these stupid, minute questions. Because I just don't care.
Yeah.
Let people live their life, whatever they want to look like, and what I don't care. Like, people have their own things to do.
Yeah.
I have my own life to live. I have this podcast. I don't go.
Exactly.
But anyway, we love it, Frederique. It's very nice to hear that as well, especially amid like all the other stuff we heard. But it's like just nice to know that benefits are being given to people who are working at Montreal. And I imagine it's very wholesome to work in that studio as it is anyway. So I wanted to give that a shout out. And yeah, I'm very jealous as well.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'd work though in that department. I don't really have any skill sets.
Hey, if you need a cook, I know how to cook. If you guys need somebody to make your lunches,
But can you cook vegan food though?
I will, bro. If it means I get to be worker friendly, bro. I will get my work visa. I will move to Montreal. You need a cook? I'll cook for you, Luke. Come on now.
Fair play. There's the offer. By the way, as well, like I don't like use TikTok and stuff. And I know I tag Luke in like a cat video and didn't even respond. I'm like tragically heartbroken here.
Come on,
be like waiting for it as well, and I'm like, no.
Come on, Luke, you're not busy at all. You're not
broken, man.
You're not a busy guy.
I was like, I close messaging and be like, why haven't you responded to mine?
I did see his TikTok where he poked Bao in the butt, and Bao was like, he's not for it. Yeah.
What I mean, he's posting a TikTok, he's doing that, and I was like, you know what? I'll tag him in this comment. You'll like this cat video, and it's like, no, not having it.
No.
So anyway. We'll move on from that, but yeah, thought we'd flag that. It's very, very nice piece of news to hear from Don't Nod Montreal, at least for their workers. Another piece as well, which is a small one, but we're going to give a plug here as well because I believe this will come out before this happens. So Webb Pickersgill, Mr. Webb Pickersgill, who we love, who I owe very much a lot of debt to, and is just generally a nice guy. On the 19th of March, tweeted, and Webb Pickersgill is the Life is Strange Before Storm director, co-director, and he's also the performance director on Life is Strange True Colors. Webport finally got around to making a fancy dancy image for the fun presentation I'll be giving at the Phoenix Film Festival in a few weeks. I hope to see you there. Dat9 followed that up with a tweet saying, if you're in Phoenix area and a fan of our games, be sure to stop by the Phoenix Film Fest and check out Webb Pickersgill talk about narrative games. So Webb is there at Phoenix Film Festival talking about narrative video games, films you can play.
Yes.
And yeah, there are tickets you can get as well, and go to Webb's Twitter page to support that because Webb is a very good guy, and Webb has done very good work, especially for that True Colors performance direction that he did. I believe he was doing little things on The Expanse because obviously Zachary Andrews, who was on this podcast as well,
yes,
he was a performance director on The Expanse. Did the stuff on that, and then I think Webb was doing the other stuff behind the scenes, like helping out with the tech stuff on mocap. But Deck 9's mocap work has like been elevated through Webb's, development on that, especially in the performance direction. So I want to give that a shout out. So, and also as well, our last piece of news, because we'll move on to that as well. This is another plug as well, and I'll let you go to Twitter as well to support this. We won't go into full detail about it, but this is from Lost Records Fans, which is from Chris, who runs Life is Strange Fans, who supports the content on this channel, who's tweeted many times, and I would never buy him coffees because I'd be bankrupt if I had to do that. The amount of times he's retweeted the content. But Chris put out on the 16th of March, putting, we've been hard at work on our Lost Records Fans website. These images are not from the Figma prototype, but the actual working in development app. We hope to launch by summer, and hopefully we have learned more about the game by then. It's like 7 tweets. I'm not going to read all of them, but you just get a look at their website, and it's really cool. And he's very, very talented. So we want to give that a shout out and go and follow them on Twitter and Facebook and all those other platforms as well, so you can keep up to date. And then you know when the website goes off, because obviously it'll be big. And we're going to be covering Lost Records more on this channel as well with our new podcast. So do stay tuned to that. And hopefully we have a place on that website with the podcast as well.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll open that up there somewhere. But anyway, that's that done. Adam.
Yeah.
Main topic.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So the main topic, of course, and I was thinking about this at a moment as well. I was thinking about Peter Griffin. He's got his little suit on. It's like, what grinds your gears? I thought to ask Adam. I was like, Adam, which Life is Strange characters really grind your gears? And by the way, as well, this is not even a fact of like Life is Strange character you hate. It's just what character really grinds your gears. And you can use any characters in the franchise, different ones, etc. Would you like to go first?
Anybody that throws the bone into the streets. Like, if you're a player
What's that?
and you throw the bone into the street, the bone with Pompidou, if you throw it in the street, that's right. That's what. Any player that decides, like, I'm going to throw the bone into the street, you really grind my gears. Pompidou for life. I will kill Chloe Price to save Pompidou every time, dog. Let's go. Other than that, you go first.
Life is Strange characters that grind my gears.
Mm.
I don't know about the first one. Maybe I don't know if Nathan's too much of a bit of a cliche kind of like, giveaway character. Now here's a controversial one. Warren.
Oh, Warren? Like, why does he grind your gears?
So, like, we haven't actually talked about Warren. I think we need to do an episode.
Are you anti-simp?
But Warren, like,
what's up?
Yeah, it's like I'm a bit like, okay, like he's nice, but like when you get like the text and it's like just a little bit aggravated stalking level, and like obviously when someone's pointed out that thing where you can see him in the dormitory, like on the outside the window, and he's like even in the nightmare sequence as well later in the game, I'm like Warren, just because sometimes he gets like later in the game, I wish there was like an option to punch him rather than it being Max kissing him, because like I like Warren in parts and he's funny and he has like the like a lot of like charm with him, but he's just a little bit like
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm like
really you want to go ape on him is what you're saying. Go ape.
Yeah, I feel like he's asking for it, and just to kind of like amplify the Warren situation, or like character that grinds my gears, he's not actually bad because I'll give him benefit the doubt in parts, but the one that really does, and I think you will agree with this,
yes,
Elliot Hampton.
Oh yeah. So two simps.
Yeah, can't be doing simp culture.
Yeah,
can't be doing simp culture in Life is Strange.
Yeah. No, see, mine is like related to Warren. I will say that. Brooke in the first Life is Strange, the one who has a little crush on Warren, but like doesn't do anything except for hate on Max every time you try to talk to her. And it's like, oh, you wouldn't understand this, you wouldn't understand that. It must be nice to have Warren like chasing after you. I'm like, girl, what are you doing? Like, what moves are you pulling? Like, you're not doing anything. You're just playing with a little drone. Stop hating. It's just like, she's just like, oh, it must be nice to be followed around by Simp Man over there. I'm like, girl, you put yourself out there then. Come on. And just like, there's a lot of playthroughs where like Max isn't even trying to hit on Warren. Warren is just like, getting friend zoned by Max. And Brooke's like, oh, I wish I could do it. Then fucking do it. I mean, freaking do something. Do something then. I hate Brooke.
There's that meme where I see like where it's like Brooke is in the car and she's like seeing Max abducted, and then she's like, why? She's like, maybe I should say, and then she's like, nah, and then she like closes the window.
Yeah, exactly. Like, nah. Should I?
Yeah, Brooke's a good shot actually from you.
Yeah, Brooke. Can't stand her.
Yeah.
Her or the one other photographer, Ethan, I want to say his name is. The one.
Oh, I'm gonna double check this.
Yeah, the one with the fade haircut. He's also a trash person, but yeah,
he's a trash.
Trash.
Well, I've got Ethan Lambert. That's Life is Strange True Colors. Oh my god, who?
Yeah, the guy in the.
Oh, I know who you mean. The really pretentious douchebag in Life is Strange 1. Oh my god, why can't I remember his name?
I feel like it is Ethan, but I can't remember. But no, who else grinds my gears though? Sarah from Before the Storm.
Oh really?
I can't stand it, dude. I can't.
Where did this come from?
I can't stand it, dude. Because like, she didn't grind my gears until the last like conversation you have with Sarah, and she's like,
right.
It's like, Rachel can't know about me. Why not? It's like, she won't understand. What are you talking about? It's just like, she needs to have a mother. And it's like, yeah, you. And she's like, oh man, I was quitting addiction. And okay, before I say anything else, right? Addiction is a real disease. My dad suffered with addiction. I've had people in my life suffer with addiction. I'm not trying to downplay addiction, but how the story was written out, it sounded like Sarah was on the mends and she didn't really have addiction. She had a problem with drugs, right? And so like now she's like, she was sober, she was clean, but then as soon as she got injected, she's like, see, I'm fucked up. Like I took drugs again. I'm like, what are you talking about, Sarah? You were drugs. You were taken advantage of. You were you didn't take the drugs. Like somebody drugged you. She's like, what are you gonna do about it? She's like, Sarah, my man, what are you doing? What are you doing? And just like, and then she says like, oh, don't tell Rachel that, you know, her dad bribed me. I'm like, I get that a little bit. I don't know. It just bugged me. It bugged me, that last conversation. I was like, what are you doing? And it's just like, it's supposed to be like this adult's like saying like, oh, you'll understand when you're older. I'm older. I didn't understand. What are you talking about, woman? No, didn't like Sarah. Didn't like her.
Fair play. I've got your guy. Oh, what's he? I've
Who
got
is
him
it?
here. I got his name as well. You're so close.
Oh, I know.
lost
It
him.
started with an E, doesn't it?
Evan Harris.
Evan. Yes.
And give Life is Strange Wiki a shout out for having that as well, because thinking for ages. But yeah, he looks like he's right. Okay, I'll take it back. I wouldn't punch Warren. I'd punch this guy.
Evan. Yeah.
I don't condone violence.
Yeah.
But like Warren gets off on it. He's not as bad as Elliot and like Evan. But oh my god, this guy's like.
Yeah, exactly. Evan is just like, nah, dude. Like there is. Here's the thing. What I want to do to Evan. So Evan, you're taking photos? Yes. Okay, cool. There are some nice shots in the parking lots. Okay, we're gonna go to the parking lot. I am going to punch you in said parking lots. I will take your picture as you're on the ground. That's it. Photography class over. Oh man, no.
Oh god.
Because that's this thing. I don't want to say Nathan. I don't want to say Victoria, because like at the end,
I love Victoria.
that's what I mean.
I
Like
love Victoria.
they both have reasons to be this way.
Yeah.
Like Nathan especially has a family he's trying to, you know, like upkeep the family name, and Victoria is just like, hey man, we're in a dog eat dog world. Like my parents are in the art world, they're in the photography world. I've seen like this dog eat dog. You have to take people down. Brooke and Evan just have this attitude of just like, no, I'm better than you for no reason.
Yeah.
No reason. And it's just like, what are you talking about? Like again,
She's there flying a drone. She's like,
yeah, exactly.
Hey Max, I've got this drone. I'm gonna fly it around. It's like,
yeah, I hated Brooke, dude. I tried to have conversations with her to try to be her friend, but there was no option. It's so stupid. You know who else grinds my gears?
hopefully Nathan's dad.
No.
Before the storm.
No. Why can't
We're talking about
Alyssa
one,
fend
two?
for herself? Why is Alyssa always needing a savior? Okay, Alyssa, watch your back. There's toilet paper. Watch your back. There's a pool noodle.
It's because Dave's putting so much effort into the voice acting for it. That's why she can't like focus and do anything else.
Can't focus.
So funny. The voice that she does.
Thanks, Max. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Max.
Thanks. Come on, Alyssa.
It's so good, Dave.
Alyssa can fend for herself. Why can't you? Be a grown adult. Do it.
Yeah, there's quite a lot of characters that really grind my gears in these games. Like I'm just kind of like trying to like narrow them down, if anything. Like Life is Strange Before Storm, his dad really annoys me. Nathan's like, oh my god, I want to slap that man repeatedly and just like get out, like because I think like the problem as well with some of the characters, they redeem themselves, like you said.
Yes.
So it's like even with Nathan as well, like it's like, well, he doesn't have a redemption arc, but you kind of understand his reasons behind it. Victoria can redeem herself depending on the situation, the context of it.
Yeah.
But then there's just some outright douchey characters. So for example, and even Warren as well can redeem himself in parts, but I still think Warren's a little bit is too simpy for my liking.
Yeah.
But like my god, and do you know what as well? I'll say this actually. One character that really grinds my gears is Mac. Didn't like Mac.
Mac
From True Colors.
Oh yeah. No, like there's no redemption for him.
No. That was that because like we've always talked about True Colors. Like I've always said, I don't hate True Colors. I don't dislike it. I think it's a good game. It's too formulaic of Life is Strange 1. It's like the Force Awakens reboot of like the Star Wars franchise. And it's like there was too many tones that took on board. And when I saw Max, it just really
because like
irate.
Nathan,
it's just such a stereotype.
That's the thing. Like Nathan had a story. He had a reason for being the way he is. Mac didn't. Like
no,
they summed it up to like, oh, he has panic attacks.
Yeah.
Okay. Like that's a reason to be a dick. Like honestly, like, no. Like Mac had basically no backstory, and I was like, why? Why are we making the red herring here? But yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason for Mac.
No, he's too good. He's too good. Do you know what though? As well, it's to True Colors' credit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think there's many characters in there that I'd even say that grind my gears, to be honest. Like, because I even like, for example, I love Diane Jacobs. I love Anastasia's performance as Diane.
Yeah.
It's like, because you'd think that would be the character to be like, I want to, like, she grinds your gears in a different way, but not in the way that I'm saying it. Because, like, as I said to you,
but at least she had a backstory. Yeah.
Like, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like you kind of understand the corporate side. She's like cynical, like dark, sinister. But it's like it's not grind your gears because like she's annoying or she's like this. Like grind your gears is like just that character where you just want to like throttle them because like there's something about them that just like really, really peeves you off. And with her, she just does a really great natural performances. It's like, you know, the kind of like the antithesis of like corporate America essentially. Which I think like she's great, but I think True Colors is probably the game out of the entire series, if not maybe Life is Strange 2, where the characters don't really grind your gears. Because for example,
I got one that grinds my gears in True Colors. Chris's dad, yeah, of course. No, there's somebody in True Colors that you're forgetting.
Who?
Gabe.
Really?
Yeah, what a douchebag. Why are you gonna die? Only douchebags die.
Oh, come on.
Couldn't you just like not die, Gabe?
Yeah, just survive the boulder. Yeah, you get hit by a boulder. It's like
honestly,
cool. What
a dick move to just like get hit by a boulder in the head.
God, yeah, that is his fault.
That grinds my gears, Gabe. My God. Just want to put that out there.
Yeah, because for example, Charlotte as well, like Xenia Scott's character.
Oh my God, that one. Yeah, where she's like saying like, I hate my son. And it's like, damn.
But then there's like, can you though? Because the game's about like empathy and like when you relate to her and you can see her anger and the way that she tries to change and stuff. It's like, I don't know if I could really she grinds my gears in that kind of way. Because I'm like, I kind of understand it, you know.
Yeah.
It was Gabe's fault. He got hit by a boulder, so it's like, you know, it's completely his fault. So it's not really.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's.
Yeah, no, it's
yeah. I don't.
There's not a lot of people in True Colors that kind of grind my gears. Like not even Jetterson doesn't really grind my gears too much.
He just slightly though.
Just slightly.
Like it's just more about because it's like the imitation of Jefferson. It's like that's where it's like it grinds my gears. It's like just let Jed be himself. Let him be Woodland Jed.
Yeah,
and like let him have his like moment. Let him pose like this and be like that instead of being like, you know, Max, I want to photographize you and like this and like he doesn't need to be like that. Just like don't put so much mystique on him.
Here's what I say about shows, any kind of media, books, video games. I think a story is good when somebody does grind your gears. Here's my reason why.
Yeah.
Because
I
I watched Gilmore Girls. Okay. I watched Gilmore Girls and the entire time I was yelling at the screen because there's so many characters that grind my gears. And I tell this to people, I would rather that than just having a boring story, because at least what art is supposed to do is just invoke emotion, right? Yeah. So if you're telling a story that invokes this emotion, I'm just like, why are you doing this? Why? Like you want to like be like, you couldn't be like this. How could? That's art. And invoked emotion. But like with True Colors, like the fact that everybody's kind of neutral, you know, like that. I'm not trying to say that True Colors was bad art, but I'm trying to say it's like I don't think that should be the goal of art, to have everybody be neutral. It like something needs to spark emotion out of you, good or bad.
Do you know what? I'll give you that because, like, for example, another example for TV show Lost.
Yeah.
Sawyer.
Yeah.
On the floor.
Perfect.
Like proper, like, you know, great the kind of character that grinds your gears, but then you like either you flip flop between him, you like him or not. But then like when you said that as well about True Colors, and it needs it as well because like Life is Strange 1 has it with like Victoria and Nathan. Life is Strange 2 has it with What's his name now?
Daniel.
Oh my god, my mind is gone. No.
Daniel.
Oh my god, what's his name? The character in the campsite with Casty. Oh my god, why do I keep thinking he's Flynn? He's not Breaking Bad. It's like,
no,
what's
it's
his name?
Finn. Just Finn.
Finn.
Yes.
Finn. Oh my
Yeah.
god, my mind. This is a
That's
bad
okay. I
podcast
called him
episode.
Ethan, but it's Evan. So
Evan.
yeah.
Oh my god, but I know Finn. Oh my god. I call him Flynn. It's like he's like from Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
But
no.
Finn, for example, he's like a character where it's like he grinds your gears because you can see what he's doing with like Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have these moments where, so like Life is Strange 2 has it, but then True Colors, and again, not bashing at True Colors, but it's like True Colors doesn't have it, so you don't have that character.
That's
that
what
you
I
can
mean.
kind of
Like, I don't want to say that True Colors is a bad game because it doesn't evoke emotion, but I don't want to allow people to credit a game being like, oh, it's perfect. I didn't hate the characters. I'm like, but art is supposed to like make you feel a range of emotions. It's supposed to make you angry. It's supposed to make you happy. It's supposed to make you feel invested enough for you to yell at a character.
Yeah.
You know? So
Because
I
you adding on to that as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, just to add on to that as well, because you bring it up as well. Another character that probably grind a lot of people's gears is Chloe Price.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing. She's a good fleshed out character because you see her backstory, but you're also upset with her. Like, I have a friend who's playing Life is Strange for the first time, honestly.
Oh.
And she's and like Chloe Price and her is like she is just being such a brat.
She's not having it.
And my friend's just going like, why is Chloe just such a bitch? Like he said.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you'll find out. Like it's like one of those things.
Yeah.
But again, Chloe is like one of those things that like you want to just like, what is your problem? The fact that you have to like yell at Chloe, be like, what's your problem? What's your deal? That's a good character writing. That's great character writing because you're invested enough to yell at a character, you know?
But it adds to that story though. Do you know how I brought up in like Sawyer before from Lost? And it's like that character where you hate him and you like him, you hate him. Chloe's the same.
Yeah.
Because like by the end of the game, she has the biggest redemption arc where she's basically like says to Max, you need to sacrifice me.
Yes.
But then decision is taken away from it. So it's like even if you hate the character first off, you might actually have warmed up to them.
Yeah.
And then made the decision. So it's like it's clever working with like what makes someone really grind your gears, because I think that's what gives you validation with certain characters. And I think it's a funny one because like the main three characters in the original game or the BTS series as well, it's like Max, Chloe, Rachel, they all grind each other's gears.
Yeah, exactly.
In different circumstances. I think like that's what the smart part is. Well, it's like it depends on who you are as a person, and what really like rattles you.
That's what I mean. It's just like to have like a good character that just rattles people. Like I need that in a story, you know?
Yeah.
Like nobody can be neutral. Like everybody needs to have something because in real life, even your best friends rattle you. Like my wife is my best friend, and so like whenever we like banter, people are like, "Oh no, you're fighting." I'm like, "No, it's just human emotion, man." Like my wife is my absolute best friend, but sometimes, like the other day, bro, she said "writ" instead of "wrote," and I said like, "Hey, you said writ." She's like, "No, I said wrote." I'm like, "Bro, you said writ," and I still say it to this day. I said it for my therapist. I was like, "She said writ." And she's gaslighting me. But at the end of the day, man, it's just like we're still friends, but we're more than friends. My point that I'm trying to make here, is that even your loved ones in your life, like the most loved person in your life, grinds your gears sometimes.
Yeah.
So for a character in a story to be just neutral, I hate that. I hate that because it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Even the most loved person in your life will grind your gears, and it's just not real. But good writing, a character's going to grind your gears.
I agree. Chris's dad.
Yeah, Chris's dad. Yeah. But that's another thing. It's just like when I say that like people have struggles with addiction, and he's struggling with addiction. But you know what grinds my gears? What really grinds my gears is that he can drink a whole bottle of whiskey and still give a kid a piggyback ride. That grinds my gears. Why can't I do that? I have 2 glasses of whiskey and it's bedtime for me. It's night. I go night now. But he's like, whole bottle of whiskey, piggyback time. Let's go. Like, screw you, dude.
Not a character per se, but segment that grinds my gears is the entire sequence with Dave Madsen and Jefferson at first.
Yeah.
Do you have to like keep playing the sequence again and again? And it's like, David, kick the table, and he kicks it.
David,
he deserved to be
he's
shot.
got a
then.
gun.
He deserved to. Dave Madsen did not deserve to be in Life is Strange 2 after that pathetic performance in the first game.
No.
Like he couldn't. He's been in like the army, and he's like, what is he doing with? It's like, what are you doing, Dave Madsen? Like you have a mustache. You should beat the living hell out of this man.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh my god, I can't watch that scene. It's so
bad, dude. It's so rough.
It's like, oh my god.
Yeah,
like he does not deserve that at all. I was watching someone play on TikTok, and they were playing for the first time, and it's like every time he mess up, he'd keep going back through it. I'm like, oh my god, Dave, like what is wrong with you, man?
Mm-hmm. No, but yeah, all around, I like a game that grinds my gears. Like that makes me feel like you actually put time and effort into the writing, rather than just like everybody's cool with each other and everybody's nice and friendly. It's like, no, that's not real.
Yeah, I agree. I do like a character that grinds my gears.
Mm.
Okay,
yes.
Should we call it a day on that?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect. And if, let us know which characters grind your gears.
Yes.
It'd be interesting. Let us know in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
We'll pick out the best one. We'll read in the next next podcast, because comment of the day comes up here, and this is our comment from Not the Milky Bar Kid.
Yes.
Which I love that username, but Adam will have something. So we were talking about, obviously, generally, this is relating to our last episode about game development, etc. Not the Milky Bar Kid said, and I quote, "I hate to say it, but you're way too positive about indie games. Most games on Steam don't even make $1,000, and it's insanely hard for a new indie developer to break through. For every success, like Vampire Survivors, there are 1,000 fantastic games that vanish without a trace. Just look at 2023 Game of the Year, Goodbye Volcano High.
Mm-hmm.
The game debuted at a Sony press conference, got Kotaku articles written about it, and has apparently sold less than 40,000 copies on Steam. It's just not sustainable for the vast majority of indie developers, especially without publishers backing for marketing, console ports, etc. If the thousands of laid off game developers all launch indie games, the problem is only going to get worse. I think the biggest problem is that the gaming industry is convinced that their market, that games are worthless. We throw them away on Epic Game Store. We bundle them with Amazon Prime. We give you unlimited access to thousands of them for a tiny subscription fee. We've trained a whole generation of gamers to not buy games. Great job." Oh, that's the comment. I've calmed him down before this as well. I let him rant and rave before that.
Dumb take. Absolutely dumb take. Stupid take.
I apologize, Not the Milky Bar Kid. I like the username. Just before Adam, Adam is thingy. I see it from like different spectrums and different sides of it.
I am in therapy, and one thing I'm working on is like, Adam, you seem very much a black and white person. You don't live in the gray. I'm like, absolutely, I do. I am an absolute, like only Sith still absolute. And guess what? I'm Darth Vader, baby. I'm Darth Vader.
Not the Milky Bar Kid is going to come to your therapy session next. So what do you want to talk about, Adam?
This guy,
this
right here. So I want to point out that yes, I am working on like trying to be more middle ground here, but this is a dumb take. First of all,
first Dido, Not the Milky Bar Kid. Next is going to be Dreamwalker. Next is going to be Jonathan Panetta. Well, continue, please. Yeah.
First of all, you have two different arguments within this, like within this one comment. On the first half of this comment, right? What you're saying is that like it's not worth it trying to be an indie game dev because you don't make $1,000 on a game, right? But then on the second half, you're saying that it's like, well, we should be giving more money to indie games, but we've been trained to say it's free. What are you trying to say here? That we should be buying games, or that we're not buying games, or that we shouldn't be indie game devs because we're not making enough money? It's because of this. But you're realizing, right? You realize, I'm calming down. You realize that Epic Games is giving them away for free, that they're not putting value, and yet you're just playing into that. It's like, yeah, indie games don't have any value because they don't have 40,000 copies, so they have no value. Therefore, what are you talking about? I'm calming down. Dumb take. So I love you as a person. I do. Not the Milky Bar Kid. you just have to realize that I'm from Philly, and here's the thing: if you ever watched Always Sunny in Philadelphia, that is such a good analogy of what Philadelphia. We're just very loud, and we're very just like, what are you talking about, bro? Like we just scream at each other. So understand this: that I love you as a person, but I'm Philadelphian. Okay, so to say that. Like goodbye Volcano High. I'm gonna go by this. Okay. Let's collect my thoughts here. We're gonna go by this like section by section, right? I hate to say it, but you are way too positive about indie games, right? Yes, I am positive about indie games. I'm an indie artist, so yes, I'm positive that we should be saying it like, hey, you should play Ollie Ollie World. Hey, you should play Goodbye Volcano High. Hey, you should pay attention to Lost Records. I know Lost Records is not an indie game, but it's a smaller marketed game. So yes, we're positive about the smaller games. We need to be positive. That's why they're going to be heard. They don't have marketing money. They don't have that. So we have to be positive. Next one. Okay, moving on. Most games don't even make $1,000. That doesn't even have to do with indie games. We just got the Insomniac leaks that Sunset Overdrive made a profit of $500. That's not exclusive to just indie games. That's just the games market in general. Next one, stupid take. And to say that like they don't even make $1,000, if you just make it yourself, yes, it takes a lot of time to make a game, and to get $1,000 right there on the get-go, that might not mean a lot, but you have to understand that people will later find the game. You look about Among Us. It didn't blow up until 2 years after release, right? You just got to keep marketing it, and maybe it'll work. But to say that like, oh, all games don't make it $1,000, screw you. So yeah, no, you go into it knowing you're gonna not make a lot of money. You just make it as an art. Next one. For every success of Vampire Survivors, there are fantastic games that vanished without a trace. No crap. Like my music, like, of course it's not going to make it big. Like I made an Animal Crossing theme, right? I made an Animal Crossing cover, didn't get anything. I put out 34th Street. I didn't really work that hard on it, and it got almost 250,000 streams. Nothing makes sense, okay? Next take. Just look at Volcano High that debuted on Sony and Kotaku and got less than 40,000 copies on Steam. Okay. Just on Steam? What about PlayStation? They were on PlayStation. We're not talking about sales on PlayStation, right? So for you to say that less than 40,000 copies is a failure, you need to reevaluate what a success is in your own life personally. Because to say that like, oh, if it doesn't get 1 million, you're not worth anything, like work on that, you know? To say that like you're in a job right now and you're not a success, bro, you are a success, you know? Whatever job you're working right now, milk guy, if you're out there delivering milk, hey buddy, you're making it. You're killing out there. Stop putting in these numbers saying that it's a failure, okay? Like that's just not a way to mark success. Less than 40, let's say it made 35,000 on Steam alone. Okay, so first off, Steam is a great source of revenue for indie game devs because there's less fees, it's easier to put on the system. There's a lot more workers, like worker-friendly things on Steam. So 35,000 Steam, that's great. That's a fantastic number, but you're not even talking about what it made on PlayStation, which I'm not going to Google because too lazy. I'm from Philadelphia. We're all lazy. Next one. It's just not sustainable for the vast majority of indie game devs, especially without publishing, marketing, console ports. Yeah, no duh. Like it's no duh. We go into it knowing that. We understand that. We do it out of passion, my guy. And it's just like, yeah, if there's no publishing, there's no marketing, there's no console ports. That's why you're counting on people to like, hey, find your audience. There's a great saying that 1,000 fans, like that's nothing, but you want 100 like ride or die fans. 100 ride or die fans are better than 1,000 fans because those are the ones that are going to stick with you. Those are going to be the ones that buy the DLC. Those are going to be the ones that support you. So yeah, no, you're trying to find your core audience and just make a living off of that. So yeah, no, of course it's up. I just made a little laughing thing on the thing. So my apologies.
I don't know that.
Oh, it is I put an angry face on it. So there you go. Next one. If thousands of laid off game developers launch indie games, the problem is only going to get worse. No, it's not. No, it's straight up not. Because then that's going to invoke more jobs. It's going to evoke more jobs for up and coming game developers. Look at Jade Raymond. Okay. Jade Raymond was laid off of Stadia and made her own game studio through PlayStation. That is creating more jobs for these people. Look at Frederica, right? She's ex-Xbox. She is ex-Ubisoft and has gone into Don't Nod, right? And has made such a worker-friendly environment. No, that's not going to make it worse. That's going to be creating jobs because they're going to open up better studios because they know how to write in a studio. So people like me have a better shot of making it as a job. So no, it's not going to make it worse. It's going to create better jobs and much more worker-friendly jobs. Next one. The problem is going to get worse. No, it's not. I think the biggest problem is that game industry is convinced that markets are worth. This is the second argument that you have. To say that, like, I'm calming down. Okay. This is Spotify problem. This is Apple problem. This is TV's problem. This is just an entertainment problem. This isn't just video games. This is entertainment, right? To say that everything's for free. You talk about Epic Games throwing things on for free, Amazon Prime. This is a good argument, but you're just like, you're saying that like, okay, so we've devalued indie games. So why are you positive about it? We're positive about it so that we put value on it. That's why we're positive. We know that there's no value because of these things. Spotify, you think good music is for free. You think good music is just there at your fingertips. You think that good TV shows are there on Netflix because, oh, it's free with your subscription. That's the problem. It's an entertainment problem. Next, we give unlimited access to thousands of them with a tiny subscription fee. We've trained a whole generation of gamers to not buy games. That is an entertainment problem. That is an entertainment problem. That's just not games. It's music. When's the last time you bought a CD? When is legitimately the last time you bought a CD? It's been a while, my guy, because you got Apple Music, you got Spotify. When's the last time you bought a DVD, a Blu-ray? Because you have Netflix, okay? When's the last time you bought a game? Okay? It's just not just games. So, yes, we're trying to be positive about indie games because this is an entertainment problem. Yes, I'm positive about Ali World. Yes, I'm positive about games like Stardew Valley, where it was made by one guy over the course of 5 years. He took a risk and the risk paid off. Like, he took a major risk. Read that story. When you have the chance, read it. But then there's other stories where it didn't pan out. But at least they took a risk. At least they took a risk. And at least we have the tools and we have the access to actually put ourselves out there. The guy who made Concerned Ape, when he made Stardew Valley, dude, he wouldn't be able to publish this, but he had access. He had the tools. He had Steam. Like, without like indie game dev tools, to have the average Joe make a game, you would not have Stardew Valley. You would not have Vampire Survivors. You would not have Shovel Knight. You would have no Super Meat Boy. If you don't give access and believe in indie game devs and indie artists, you have none of that. So for you to have this argument of just like, oh, you're so positive about it. Yeah, I'm positive about it. Dumb take. Stupid take. Absolutely garbage take. And it's just like this, like, even with like entertainment movies, right? Like, for you to say that, like, oh man, like movies shouldn't make it on Netflix, garbage take. Stupid take. Okay, I'm done.
I've generally not sat that long in silence on this podcast, I think, in history. I think that's a record for me. Thank you, Not the Milk Bar Kid, for your comment. And you can feel free to Look,
I want to put it on record that whoever Milk Boy is, I don't think I'm not devaluing them as a person. If they wanted to come up and say, "Hey, you want to have a beer, bro? I'll play mini golf with you." Like that's it. Like I'm not. I don't. Okay, I want to put this on the record that I'm playing a character. I'm from Philly, and we just yell at each other. But if we actually had like a real conversation about this, I would still shake your hand. I would still say, I respect your opinion. I'm just Philadelphia. Like I'm just yelling for yelling's sake.
Well, no, I think you have to take it that way though, because it's same with like, would you see Dido left us a comment in the last video?
Mm.
You know, they left the door open and said like, you know, it's about having a discussion and a
Yeah.
conversation. So it's like, you know, I don't agree with this take. I agree with parts of your take compared to what me and Adam were talking about before the podcast. It was quite like differently because I don't like, you know, I feel like there is a bigger problem, and it's not just like restricted to video games. It's like, you know, as Adam said, it's like an entertainment industry problem, and it's like, you know, you kind of said that as well. Like, you know, games are given away free, willy-nilly free as well. We had that, for example, with Life is Strange: True Colors. That was the Ultimate Edition, and it's like, what is ultimate about it? Oh, you get the remastered collection of Life is Strange. But then when you get the Life is Strange remastered collection, the quality is like very, very poor in terms of when it first launched, and even now as well, you can still make an argument that it's still quite poor in the quality of it.
Yeah.
But it's like there's quite a lot of things with it, because like even when you mentioned this 2023 game, I've never heard of it. Adam was like, you never heard of it? I was like, no, never heard of it.
That's what I mean. Like we gotta be more positive about this. We need to be like saying like, hey, I played this indie game. You should go check it out. You should go check out Oxenfree. And what was that? You know?
It's I think for me, my thing with it is that basically the goalpost move. So for example, we've had this bed we made on here, we've had Olivia on here talk about this video game, and it's like it's great, but then it's also like it won't have sold as much as like, you know, I would want or he would hope for, or not that speak for him, or his development team would speak for. And I think that's where the goalpost starts to shift, because it's like I said to Adam, like, you know, you have that kind of thing where it says like, you know, it only sold, you know, 40,000 copies. In the sense that Capcom does the same thing. Resident Evil only sold 1 million copies. Resident Evil only sold 2 million copies. It never satisfies their needs, even though they think it should be selling like 5 or 8 million copies. And it's not realistic. It's like it's only going to sell X amount of copies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. I get what you mean. I kind of do feel a little bit. I kind of agree with you where it's like, you know, when you open the door for all these indie developers to make things, it does saturate a market. I do believe that. I'm a firm believer that we have saturated a market, because, for example, we're making podcasts, we saturate a market. We're making loads of podcasts. People are going to keep doing the same thing.
I'm making garbage music. I'm saturating the music market. You know,
exactly, yeah. And I think like with the podcast as well, we saturate, but we're trying to focus on a niche, for example. So like StrangeCast stays on its niche, and the same with the Lost Records podcast we started. It's staying on a niche, because I'd rather we carve out a market in that than go for what everyone else is doing, which is what's kind of like causing this problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what it is like, because I do think, like I said to Adam, it's like, you know, this is kind of great opportunity. Obviously, like all these laid off developers can go and make their own studios, but then it also doesn't translate to success either, because like Jade Raymond went to Stadia, and that was like a disaster. She went to she went to Sony. I don't know what actually happened there. I can't remember. I think did she leave Sony? Something happened with Jade Raymond.
No,
like, I haven't heard.
Sony bought her studio.
And is she still there?
I think so. Yeah, she's still making the game under Haven Studios.
I haven't even heard from her like that. And the same with like Amy Hennig was another example. With all this, you know, leaving Naughty Dog and going to EA. It's just not guaranteed. I feel like the problem is as well, and I think it's a bigger problem, which is like you're kind of trained not to actually want to go and look for your own things. You're not trained to have your own opinion anymore.
That's
the amount of times you have a conversation with people,
like finding your own.
The amount of times you have because like here's the thing as well. Not the Milk Kid. Adam will respect you more because this is your own original opinion.
Yes.
And whether like you said it's dumb take and whatever else, that's just in between his own passionate response with it. And I agree with yourself as well. This is your original comment because like we didn't see the other comments say it, and you've obviously made this yourself. The other thing is when you have a conversation with most people, they'll try and give you an opinion. And it's based on what other people have said online, or it's something else they've read. It's not an original opinion, and we've lost that art. So it's, for example, it's not an original opinion to go and play a game. So it's like, I don't need someone's sales pitch to go and be like, let's go and play Oxenfree. Adam was like, you should play Oxenfree. I think you'll like it. And from there, I went and did my own due diligence and went and picked it up. It wasn't about like a grander scheme kind of thing. It's just about people don't have choice anymore. Yeah. That's being taken away. I think that's the difficulty with it. It's like people don't like, you know, actively like watch TV shows like on Netflix. For example, you go on there, it's an AI algorithm feeding you different contents. People click on something, they watch it. Same with Amazon, same with everything else.
I found out about the big Inscription through the grapevine, and Inscription is just an insane game.
Yeah, I think like that's the big issue with it, and I think that's the problem with it. 'Cause it's like I want to be positive about indie games, and I'd like to be positive about it. I also know the realistic expectations where they might flop,
Mhm.
they might bomb, the studio might collapse. You know, we've had conversations about Chris Floyd about when he left Deck Nine and went and worked in not a smaller studio. That studio just the game that they had didn't have the same success they had. He got laid off. He had to go and find another job. It happens, you know.
But I
It's a
think you
chain of
go into it
success.
knowing that's going to happen to you. You know
Yeah.
that you might be. Talk to any artist, whether it be a musician or game dev or graphic designer, animator. Talk to any artist. Like, oh, do you feel like you're going to be a success? And you're just going to see like the dead cold stare. Like, no. Like we know
No,
what we're getting into.
no.
But I don't know.
It's the expectation as well, because people think that you should be given things in life in like terms of having instant success, and I would like that just before you jump on me or someone else jumps on me, but it's just not reality. It's just like, yeah.
I will say this, to your point. Okay, so Spotify, right? So you get paid per stream 0.003 cents, right? So for 34th Street, for 230,000 streams, I got $800, just about. Okay, but there is a bill trying to be passed called the Livable Wage for Musicians Act that is trying to get Spotify to pay 1 penny per stream. So that means 34th Street would have booked me over $2,000. Okay, which is nice. But here's the problem: when you say like expected to be given to you, if you read the act and saying, okay, how are they going to get these funds?
Yeah,
there's 2 ways, and I want you to name one of the ways that they're going to get these funds.
Price goes up.
Bingo. They want to up the price to be like, so if Spotify is now $9 a month, it's going to be $15 a month. And that's how they're going to get a penny per stream. But that's the thing, is that we've been trained to think that like, well, if the price goes up, that's not value to me. No, you're buying the music. Like that's equal to you're giving money to an artist via CD, via this. Is Spotify a dirty company? Hell yeah, dude. It's so dirty. It's filthy. Dude, Daniel Ek has... Okay, when I say this is a dumb take from Not the Milk, I respect this take way more than anything that comes out of Daniel Ek's mouth. Like, it is the dumbest bullcrap that I've ever heard in my life.
Did you do you remember when I sent you the tweet about him like complaining about App Store policy and the charges and stuff? And
So
it's like,
stupid.
and it's like, what have you done to the music industry? It's like, what have you
like Milk Bar Kid at least has a take that I can have a discussion with.
Yeah.
Daniel Ek has the dumbest, stupidest rock brain bullshit takes I've ever heard in my entire life. So what I'm trying to say is that, like, will Spotify save the artist? No, it won't. It's a dirty company. But this act is trying to put out like a penny per stream for indie artists, for ones that want to make a living. But here's the problem: we have to up the price to give more. I forget the second way. I think there's like a fund via like government assistance.
They're never doing that.
Yeah,
they're never doing that.
But that's what I mean.
For the first option.
That's what I mean.
Because because adding on to what you're saying as well, I agree with everything you're saying as well. Because like that's the thing. Because like what you made there was an interesting point where you said we give them away on Epic's Game Store, we give them on Amazon Prime. Okay, interesting. Because what you do is what Adam said, where it's like you're a musician, up and coming, buddying. You're doing it for exposure at that point because you're willing to take the risk of like financial gain. But remember as well, for example, here will shock you as well. Spotify is not profitable as people think.
Yeah, no, it's
oh my god, if you ever.
It hasn't been profitable.
No, at all. And it's like, do you with like Netflix, where it's like crack down on these passwords and it's like up the price of these? It is still not as profitable as you think it is. Like if you look at, for example, Apple is a behemoth. Yeah. It has a subscription services. It's pivoting towards subscription services, but its main money doesn't come from it. It has massive cash flow, massive revenue. Same with Microsoft. And like even when I was saying to Adam before, Microsoft, for example, with Xbox, they don't even like it because the Xbox division hemorrhages so much money. So it's like with these publishers, they're going to lose it. And when you do something like that and you're like, oh, well, these are causing the problems of the market, it might, for example, help a Fortnite on the Epic Games Store because that will always be a success. But the indie developers are going to be like, you know what? If someone doesn't buy it and it doesn't have a discussion on Epic's game stores, like, you know, forums and stuff, so be it. We've lost out on that, etc. We'll have to move on from it. But then you have the other flip side, which will be like, oh, here's a subscription fee, and oh, here's an increase, and here's a Prime Video increase, and here's a Netflix increase, and then people get complaining. It's like, technically speaking, what you get from Netflix, and it's like, what, 20 something dollars, you'd be paying about $40-$60 on cable, and it'll eventually get there because Netflix will have to try and make a profitable move from it, but they're keeping the price as low as possible because they don't want you to go to cable.
Profitable,
and that's the benefit of it. But people are slowly getting there. But the problem is just that it's like, basically, you're at the mercy of what you're doing, because it's basically, at this point, and I don't know how old you are, not the Milky Bar kid, but because for me as well, at my age, it's basically like a saturation more in the sense that you have choice. You have so much choice, which I don't think is always a good thing at certain times. I think like when we were like growing up, it's like certain games, like even when Adam says to me, he's like, I've gone back to being more of a Nintendo fanboy and play my games. It's like you get Metroid when we give you Metroid.
Yeah.
You can bitch and complain all you want on the internet. Nintendo's like, we're just going to be working in our old ways, and it works for them as well. So it's like, unfortunately, the market conditions haven't done that. So for Nintendo, it works. Other people, it doesn't. So it's like, I think like when we were doing it in the conversation of like the podcast, we were trying to be positive, being like, indie games are good, and we're trying to like support them. But it's like, for example, here, and I kind of like, we've gone on this comment for age. I mean, might be bigger than the main topic actually, but like, like for example, Lost Records, Bloom and Raid. Who's to say that is even going to be a success?
Exactly.
Who is going to say that's going to be a success? You might just turn around to me and be like, "Oh, well, it's a team from Don't Nod, and it's Luke and Michelle, and you guys are hyped for it, and Chris has started Lost Records fans." I mean, who's to say anyone cares about it?
Exactly.
Who's to say anyone?
That's why I want to be positive
about
it, because like I want to tell people like, dude, support. They're like, nah, I want to play Skull and Bones instead.
Yeah.
Great.
That's what I mean. Like, it could be anything. So it's like, like Luke and Michelle, and like when they've interacted with us, and even when I've like privately spoken to Luke, they like, you appreciate the people, and as I said, you're better off having the 100 people who are like deeply loyal to your game and like talk about it more than anything else than for them, for example, and they can do whatever they want. But it's like from them to go and spend £6,000 on like Ninja to go and promote in his Twitch stream, because like Ninja doesn't care about the game for them. He's just going to be someone who's playing it as like a person who's getting like financial incentive from like a company, like to play the game on stream, and like might have no actual admiration for it. But we've covered this game for like free. Think about it as well. People like will be excited for Lost Records for how long you've wanted to, and then we've been covering this game for like 3 years, even before it's in development. There's a podcast coming out, and the game isn't even out yet.
Yeah,
and it's like you don't get that all the time. Like did was called Low Birth Games get this for this bed we made? No, they didn't. No, they didn't. Like Olivia was like every other interview doing with other channels, and I reached out to him. He's like, yeah, I'll come on. And for him, that's unbelievable publicity to come on like a Life is Strange themed channel. And even if anyone picked it up or not, that's a different story. But it's like you basically just have to sell yourself. This podcast isn't that big, but I'm content with what we have.
Yeah.
I said to Adam, like, maybe one day has a breakthrough, maybe it doesn't. We just carry on. We engage with people. We have a good time, and we have these kind of conversations as well. Even though Adam's being like, attacking all our listeners, and I wonder who's next. But like, anyway, thank you for the comment. But it's a very interesting comment, because it does do that, because as we've had our conversations picked apart by other people in the comment, not in a like an aggressive tone, I'm trying to suggest it, but we've had takes where people have been like, well, that's nah, and I'm like, fair enough. But it's like, I like the fact that I have an original opinion, he has an original opinion, and you have an original opinion here, and it's more valid for that, because like what you're saying is, I think, as Adam says, like two different arguments, but it's still interesting nonetheless. And I wouldn't put you down for it either. I think like you've got fair points made in there. If anything,
like I said, it was discussion worthy, at least.
Very much. I think it's the biggest one that we've had since we've done the comment of the day, which
Daniel
very much appreciate, and hope that you
don't
have. No, Daniel Eck does not have any. Of this,
being a musician is a lot like being a professional athlete. I'm like, shut the fuck up, Daniel.
Well, I hope you appreciate that we've had you on this conversation. You haven't taken anything personal, as we said, because it's an interesting conversation to be had in our podcast. And then obviously, as well as Adam said as well, you're not a Daniel Eck, you're not someone like that. So it's like you're not a Bob Iger. So it's like what's actually happening in the scape of things.
Yeah.
Like Bob Iger's never recovered from that South Park sketch that they did on him and Kathleen Kennedy. Like that's just like,
that was great.
It's very telling about what it is. Yeah, but like it's about understanding what there is. Like that's the difficulty. It's like there's so much content for people.
Yeah.
If they aren't consuming content, they're doom scrolling, and it's like a very unhealthy habit people have got into. We're now I think for me, we're at the peak evolution of like the internet, social media, entertainment. Like look at Disney. Disney were like motoring away with like millions and billions of dollars from the MCU universe, and now people are like, I just had enough, because it's like,
Yeah.
I am done here, and it's basically opened the scope up for all these other films in the film industry, because it's like, oh, actually, I'll go and watch Oppenheimer, or I'll go and watch Barbie,
Yeah.
or I'll go and watch
Meg 2.
this film. I'll go,
Wonka.
Yeah, well, okay. We'll go and watch some of these other films because we were bored of seeing the MCU. That's what basically happens from it. So I agree with what you're saying, and I also, like, have my own opinion of it. Thank you for sharing that. It was very interesting, and it is. And I'll try and calm Adam out after this as well. But yeah, that's that. Adam, should we go and spread the arts?
Yes. You can start first.
Do you want to go? Right. So mine one, I was going to actually come here saying that I'd watched Quiet on the Set because it's been like trending everywhere,
So did
but I
I.
haven't. Is it that yours? Okay, you can talk about it because I haven't watched it, Adam, because like basically my life has basically been Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm now 70 hours into it. I'm like near the end of the game ish. And unfortunately, like I tried to look for a stream for this and I couldn't find one. So I will watch it, and I've seen some of the clips and stuff, but I'm like, my childhood is like deeply disturbed by this because already there were loads of allegations against Dan Schneider anyway. And who looks very different in the video you sent me as well. Like his response, he looks so different. But anyway, Dan Schneider as well. But it's like, I'm like, there's a scene actually that was actually shown. I think like some people are montaging it. It's like, it's Amanda Bynes, who I feel so sorry for as well. But it's like Amanda Bynes, and she's in the bathtub for Amanda show, and it's one of the sketches she does, and Dan Schneider's in there. I swear I remember that, and I was like, it's giving me flashbacks to I actually remember watching that scene. And it's like, oh my,
and he wrote that
days.
scene.
And it's,
he's like, I'm going to be in the bathtub with
that's
Amanda
what I mean.
Bynes. Yeah.
And you came on here, I think it was last year, and you said about Jeanette McCurdy's book. You'd read that, and she would talk about
The creator,
the director, the creator, the creator she refers to. And it's like, oh my god, it's like, oh my god, it's like, I just don't. You just
So wait, what is your spread the arts then?
My spread the arts was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. That was it. It's like, I'm basically telling you that I played this game, and I'm like, it's one of the 10 greatest games I've ever played. Genuinely,
Yeah.
I haven't finished it. Michelle has spoken to me on Twitter. I've like interacted with Michelle here and there because I'd love to hear his full opinions on it at some point. But no, I think he said it was like even better than 16. I think just off the top of my head, he said it like on a tweet. Well, it's incredible, Adam. Yeah. It is incredible, down to every core bit. There's like some frustrating parts gameplay wise and some story point here and there, but generally speaking, I would now not even finished it yet. Currently put it in the 10 greatest games I've ever played of all time.
And that's the thing, like when you get to that like peak game, everybody in there. Like everybody in that studio like started from the bottom, but like now that is a master class. Like it is all just people who are focused that had their come up, and they're all just like collaborating on it. So like I applaud games for being large AAA because these are all people who had their come up versus Starfield. Okay, we're just not going to talk about Starfield.
This is going to be a strong Game of the Year winner potentially.
Good.
So Lost Records Boom Rage comes out and absolutely smashes everything. But like, this will be a strong contender. But that's my thing. So, but we'll move on to you for Quiet on the Set because it's like you've watched the whole thing.
I actually have another one too. Like right before I canceled Max, we watched Wonka. It's good.
Oh,
yeah. It's not as bad as you think. So that's all I'll say about it.
Really?
Yeah. If I saw this in theaters, I wouldn't be disappointed. I wouldn't leave thinking like, "Wow, that was a great Wonka," but like I would have been like, "Yeah, it was good." Like that's all.
That's the Kojima one sentence review, is it? Have you seen that meme?
Yeah. It's not bad. It's good. Like I would say Wonka.
What is it about?
So it's a prequel to Wonka's story and how he's like so it's actually a good take on like capitalism, how he's trying to make chocolates, right? But there's 3 other power lords of the chocolate industry, and they taste his chocolate. They know he's competition, like, oh, he can shut us down single-handedly. So they try to like sabotage his business and like saying like these 3 conglomerates of chocolate come together to just try to take down this one guy who's innovative. And so it's a good take. I think it's a good original story, but like, will I say that like everybody go watch it? It's more of like those things like if it comes on TV, don't turn it off. Like check it out, but I wouldn't say like go on Max and you need to go watch. It's like It's not as bad as people would think. I'll just leave it at that.
Right.
It's not as bad as what people would think it is. So I did see that.
Do you know who Wonka should have gone to? Not the Milky Bar Kid, because he is not the Milky Bar Kid. That's why the business would have been done there and then.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that right now.
That's what I mean. It was a good take. It was a good take. Yeah, I wouldn't go about and say recommend it, but it's like not bad. Pretty good.
Fair enough.
So I will talk about Quiet on Set. So I did watch this on ID Network because it did it did air on TV. It's not just on Max, it's on ID Network. So we watched it. Dan Schneider is not the biggest problem. Dan Schneider played a very, very minor role in some things. I'm going to tell you this, Adnan, that we watched this. I couldn't sleep. Like, there are some very disturbing things that happen on the Nickelodeon set that, like, Dan Schneider, bro, he is such a minimum character in this. Like, when it says, like, they had to market it as, like, the Dan Schneider problem because everybody knows, like, it's not a secret that Dan Schneider was a menace on set. So they had to market it like, oh, it's the Dan Schneider. There are other factors into this that is just, like, it's insane to me that this happened. So one of the big things that dropped was that Drake Bell shared his story, right? Of just like how he was affected by the set. And like, I remember thinking when Drake Bell came out and they talked about like pedophilia and all this, I was just like looking at my wife and was like, why are we bringing out Drake Bell? Because we all know what he did. We all know what he did. He did like text an underage girl. He did these things. Bro, you hear his story and it's just like you're Adnan, you're a fan of Freudian of cause and effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's serious cause and effect.
Case example.
Yeah, dude. Him texting a minor. It's just trauma, man. Like what Drake Bell went through and what he had to go through. It changed my mind, not in a way of just like, I'm rooting for you, Drake. Oh, it's okay that you texted. It's more of like, oh my God.
You understand?
Yeah, it's like, holy shit, dude. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Like, and they did touch on how he texted a girl. They didn't hide from that.
Yeah.
Like he said, like, because of this, I went on a bender and they touched on it. He's like, I did my time. And then he said that the media took this way out of context and put me in such a dark spiraling place that he went to bankruptcy. Oh my God, dude. I couldn't sleep. I straight up couldn't sleep.
Look, I'm not like a defender of it. Like it's difficult. Like those shows made my childhood. Like I've always spoken highly of like Kenan and Kel and Amanda Show and Drake and Josh. Like it was like the peak golden era of like teenage comedy. Like, you know, off the springboard of Saved by the Bell. It was like just the big era of Nickelodeon's dominance in that market. And it's like, I feel for Drake Bell because it's not about the other allegation that he's faced and whatever else it is, but there was always something suspecting for me from Drake Bell because I felt like his behavior wasn't someone of like who had like, you know, lived a normal life per se. Because it's like, and I mentioned it before, Amanda Bynes, you feel so sorry for her when you follow her story and what's happened to her.
About that
because she basically needed. She's basically someone who needed help. Jeanette McCurdy, you read her book, you listened to her book. She is another example of someone who needed help and never got it. It was like almost like just silent torment and whatever else with it. And just think about it as well. They were young children on the set. They're like 15, 14, 13, 12, whatever range it is between there. And they are like around grown adults, men. They've been thrusted into the limelight. You basically get first opportunity like in Hollywood to crack it. And it's like, you know, it's like horror stories. It's like that. It's like almost like that entire premise of like. Sorry, just before you carry on as well, it's that really horrible premise. For example, you watched it in Scream 3. Do you want to? You have what's he called? The director, the famous director that's in there that's playing it. The old guy. He's talking about when Sidney Prescott's mum comes to Hollywood.
Are you talking about
Rita Reynolds?
Oh shit!
I can't remember his name is now. John something. What's he called? They present him as like this famous Hollywood director.
But like he's obviously portraying
what the Hollywood like representation is, because it's like, you know, Sidney Prescott's mum came to Hollywood, she's called Rena Reynolds, she had too much to drink, and all these people took advantage of her. And it's like, it's not our fault.
Yeah.
Though. It's like he's implying like, because
By the way,
she like had
Epstein was a producer on that very movie.
Oh, yeah.
I saw it in the credits. I watched
Jeffrey
it
Epstein
recently.
got his
Like,
hand in every pocket.
I was like, holy shit. Like, he was in this movie, and they're like saying, like, yeah, Hollywood just takes advantage, and then he's in the credits. I'm like,
he's
that
everywhere.
was wild.
Jeffrey Epstein, like, it's quite wild how far his like reach and like his being. Like, I don't think we've seen the full extent of where Jeffrey Epstein went, like with in terms of reach. Yeah. But on the actual conversation of this thing, I watched his interview, that segment, Drake Bells.
So anything. I will say this, like I said, Dan Schneider's not the biggest issue. They found when I talk, there's men who took advantage of these kids. The FBI raided one of these men, his hotel room, and he had explicit journals of what he planned to do to these kids. Like, and it gets so disturbing that it's just like, oh my God, dude. And Dan Schneider, how he comes across in this is a creep and aggressive, right? Like, he is a problem, but like in comparison, it's just like, oh my God, he wasn't the biggest issue. He's just a creepy asshole. What it comes across with other things that happened in this, Dan Schneider is an issue, but like, oh my God, like, if
not the biggest issue,
I will, like, bro, like, if you watch this, and I'm saying this to the listeners and the viewers,
I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, if you watch it, man, just be prepared, like, buckle up, because they do not go light on this. It is pretty gnarly. Yeah.
No, I don't imagine they will. I watched his interview in that where he talks about the S8. I can't remember how people say it. I don't really want to say the word. Where he talks about his, like, you know, experience, and it's like, yeah, it's quite harrowing, and like just seeing it, I felt for him, and it's like, it doesn't excuse other things that he's done.
No, but it's just kind of like,
it is like, as you said, that Freudian
cause and effect.
Freudian example of like childhood experiences, like literally directly impacted him, and it's like God only knows like what he actually received in terms of support and everything else of it. It's like that is like life changing and devastating for him. And it's like, yeah, it just kind of like smears that entire Nickelodeon brand now with all the stuff that happened in between like that period. Because again, it was like the peak golden era of like Nickelodeon TV. We grew up in like the 90s, 2000s, and you expected like this unbelievable, like, you know, quality of content, but it's like you never really considered what was happening to these kids. It happens. You know what, as well, it just happens as well. It just keeps happening on like sat after sat, and it's like such a devastating knock-on effect of that industry, especially with young children. You wonder as well, for example, why young child actors have such level of protection now compared to what they did back then. Yeah. It's quite obvious. Let me give you an example of this. In journalism, when I was learning journalism, especially in like MA study, they teach you how to interact with children, if you're going to interview them, etc. It's like one of those things that comes up. I thought maybe it never happened. And the same with like my counseling stuff that I've been doing recently. It's like learning about what the limitations are with children, how you do therapy, etc. It's like when I did so for example, Life After Strange, Chandler Manny Tony came on there.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, he is a child, and it's like you think about the precautions. Like I had to like go through like hurdles to get that interview like set up with the agents. They like, for example, wanted to get me on a call with him and a day or 2 or 3 days before, so he could chat with me and just get a vibe with him. His mum is in the background of that interview. You can't see her, but she's in the background in the distance. His agent is also there as well. Like, there are safeguarding issues, like, and everything else with it. Because it's like, even I as well felt quite a little bit like, I didn't know how to really navigate the conversation because he's a child. It's like the conversation isn't natural either. When you're asking questions, it's quite blunt, and it's like quite like, you know, it's not going to be eloquently portrayed. Like, you know, I have Anastasia on here, and she's like just naturally like great at talking and has like, she's a grown adult, she can have a conversation. But when you deal with a child, it's completely different. And it's like you see all the stuff that happened on the Nickelodeon set. And again, like, I haven't watched it, but I know Dan Schneider was part of the problem. But it feels like what's being exposed is the bigger part of the problem, which was that it's basically happening on a bigger scale, and it impacted people, individuals specifically. And then again, for me, I always used to remember like watching the news. I was like, Amanda Bynes is being presented in this kind of way, like she's like fallen off the rail and all this. Do you like the kind of glamorization that people do of it? But I'm like, what actually happened there? It's like, what happened there? I thought as well at one point it had happened to Miley Cyrus during the post Disney thing. I was like, I hope nothing happened to her, like had a knock on effect. I'm not saying like because she went on a completely different personality stuff. I was like, I just hope nothing happened to the Hannah Montana set that's like really impacted her, made her well being go a completely different trajectory. And maybe it was just her breaking the mold and breaking her personality and breaking trend. And fair play, it seems like that at the minute. But it's like, my God, yeah, I feel for Drake Bell in that interview I watched. I was like, I was like, this is pretty harrowing just to hear this from you.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, like I said, if anybody does watch this, just buckle up. That's all I'm gonna say. Is just buckle up. That's all I have to say.
Yeah. Those things are always difficult. Even the Epstein documentary and all the other stuff. Yeah, not a very good thing to see. But you know,
yeah,
it's tough. Anyway, we'll wrap up there. Thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you are new here, please do consider dropping a like on the video, share with your friends. Comment, help support the channel, it helps support us going forward. And StrangeCast is available on all your podcast services. So available on Spotify, available on Apple Podcasts, available on everything. So please do support that. And again, one more time, the Lost Records Journal will debut later this month. So please do stay tuned for that. We're very excited to drop that podcast and hope you enjoy it, and it helps keep up to date with Lost Records discussions and everything else in between it. So very excited to see that. And also our logo is done now as well. We have a logo then. So Christine has done the logo, which we're very happy for. Christine's a very talented freelancer, so for us, and she's done great work as usual. So she's done the StrangeCast logo if you're wondering as well. So it's nice to have her do that as well for us. Yeah, in the comments, leave us your thoughts. You know, let us know any characters that grind your gears. We'll use the next any other comment as well. Leave it in the comment section. We'll run it in the next podcast episode. You could personally be attacked by Adam as well. That is a new thing. I think it might become Adam's attack of the day. I think that might be the new rephrasing of the podcast. Yeah, I think like that. It's been Dido. It's been. Yeah, I'm wondering who's next, if anything. But anyway, so on a serious note, appreciate your comment, not the Milk Bar Kid, and hope you take everything that we said as a nice discussion. It was a great discussion because we have probably our longest comments section of the day there that we've had. But anyway, enjoy this episode. We'll be back in April for the next episode. Until then, take care, guys. See you later.
Bye.
Ready for the mosh pit, Shaka Bra.